going on YouTube? It's your boy JS392 back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about the cost of ownership of a Scat Pack, particularly mine, which is a 2021 Dodge Charger Scat Pack widebody. So basically, a lot of people, they talk about the monthly payments and they really don't go into detail with the cost of ownership. Cost of ownership is basically what it's going to cost you monthly to own the vehicle, which can be changed just by any number of factors. And for everybody's situation, things are going to be different. So I'm giving you my perspective, and hopefully that'll give you an idea of what it costs to own one of these vehicles, which I always tell everybody is not as cheap as everyone thinks, because it's an American car, one, and two, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that you live, that you should live within your means. You know, don't just go into this car because you want to impress people, or you want to drive it because, you know, you see people driving and you're like, man, I really want one. You get yourself into a situation where you can't handle it for too long, and you actually end up worse than you were before. So, you know, before I even get into it, really, I'm gonna start off with why I got the vehicle and how I obtained it. So basically, a couple of years ago, I went to a car meet. My friend invited me. This is when I had the Mustang. I actually still have it, but this is when I first got it. And I made the cardinal sin of buying a EcoBoost 4-cylinder Mustang, which isn't really a muscle car. It's more of a sports car, especially with the 4-cylinder turbo. Calling it a muscle car doesn't even make sense. So I went over there. I was really impressed with the presentation, the way these vehicles moved, sound, and overall the way they looked and everything. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is definitely something I want for myself. So after that, I went looking around. I saw one actually at my friend's dealership. It was a 5.7 RT Challenger, 2017, for $26,000. I was like, okay, cool, that sounds good. I wasn't thinking, hey, you know, it's a two-door, Mustang's a two-door, and I also had a kid on the way, so it's like, you know. But I figured, hey, I want one. And I didn't even factor that in. I was like so crazy for that. But when I went over there to the dealership, after I contacted my friend who told me, hey, don't you already have a car? I'm like, no, I want this one. I get over there and he shows me a white narrow body Scat Pack, brand new, you know, plastics in it and everything. It was like just off the truck. And I was really blown away. I was like, wow, this is beautiful. You know, suede interior. It was black. And it had a good number of options and stuff like that. And I was just like, you know what, this might be it. Even my girlfriend was like, wow, that's really nice. Let's try to get that one. You know, it has more space. We're having a baby. It's exactly what I kind of need, more or less, in terms of being able to have a car with a good amount of power, but I can also drive the family around it. And I'm not an SUV guy, so that wasn't even a thought. So, you know, I was thinking maybe I could trade in my car. And at the time, I had just finished paying off all my credit cards. And even though my credit was good, it was just that my credit to income ratio was a bit high. So getting approved for another expensive car would have been tough. Obviously, I got approved for the vehicle with a trade-in, but they wanted crazy money. They wanted like $7,000 or $8,000 because I was going to be upside down on the Mustang. Mustang I have 0 APR, but it was still 30 grand. I had just gotten it a year and a half before going over there. So, you know, they were really doing the best they can, and it still was too much. And I mean, they even showed me a loan that was for 84 months, and I was like, nah, we're not doing that. No, 72 months back in the day was already pushing it. 6 years you want to pay for a car, that's nuts. But 7 years, they even had one that said 100 months, and I was like, who's gonna do that? That's crazy. You're spending a huge portion of your life paying for this car. By 100 months, it's probably going to be a piece of crap, depending on how you drive it. And, you know, between payments and taking care of it, it's going to be insane. You know, that's why I like buying brand new cars. You keep it for a couple of years, you get another one, because after a while, once the warranties run out and everything, the maintenance starts to get to you, and it's, you know, it's going to get a bit pricey. So anyway, we couldn't make a deal, ultimately. And while I was there, he showed me a Challenger. He was like, oh, we got a smoke show Challenger. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. You know, that year, last year, is when that color first came out. And he's like really like trying to sell me on it. I'm like, why the hell are you trying to sell me this color? I look at the car, I was like, wow, that color is really nice. The Challenger was cool. It was pretty and everything, but once I saw the Charger, I was like, I don't even want a Challenger anymore. I don't want another two-door. What was I thinking? So I move on, whatever. So of course, a couple of weeks later, the vehicle gets sold. The boy hits me up and tells me, why don't you try factory owner or one of the vehicles? And they give you $1,000 discount, yada yada yada. I'm like, all right. So I look, check some out. I say, hey, what about the wide body? He's like, oh, that's too expensive. And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. All right, I'll let you know, one of those. And I was kind of hurt, but I was like, yeah, at least it gives me an opportunity to keep saving more money. So then my other boy who I work with, he tells me, hey, look, why don't you try the dealership that I bought my Jeep SRT at? They'll work with you on other people, see if you can make a deal. I was like, all right, sure, why not? Look on the website, I see a black narrow body, and I'm like, okay, cool. This is something I think I want, So the next day I go over there. I walked to one of the sales associates that he referred me to. Mind you, the place is packed, and everybody was buying cars, I guess, that day. We speak. I tell him about the car. I show him the car on the website. He says, yeah, sure. Let me go show it to you. Let me talk to my manager real quick. Goes to talk to his manager, comes back, tells me, oh man, listen, they sold the car already. I'm like, damn, came here hell bent on buying a vehicle. My credit reset, saved a couple of G's. I was ready to buy a car. Only other things they had there were Rams and Grand Cherokees. So I'm like, man, what am I gonna do? So he tells me, look, we got a smoke show wide body over here. And I'm like, oh, all right, let's take a look at it. I didn't know what I was thinking, because as soon as I saw the car, I fell in love. I was like, oh man, this is it right there. It was in the showroom and everything. I didn't even see it. It was in the showroom. It was as beautiful as can be, clean, fresh. I mean, it was breathtaking, like with the red interior and everything. I was like, oh man, I'm sold before I even thought about buying the car. And obviously they don't let you test drive it, because people that have never driven the car, or a car with that kind of power, probably will hit the pedal and do all kinds of damage. So I understand that. But I knew I wanted the car. I was like, all right, let's try to make it happen. Let's try to make a deal. We went to go crunch the numbers. And, with dealerships, it's kind of tricky. If you have experience, then you can just tell them, listen, I want to pay this much. My credit's here. Because you also have to be realistic with yourself. You can't just think, oh, well, I have a 650 credit score. I only want to pay that. Well, if you want to pay a certain amount and it's kind of low, expect to come up a lot of money. I've been here before, so I knew what I could afford, what I could get in terms of a deal based on my credit, and how much I'm probably going to need down. So we put the numbers together. We found a number that made sense. I said, okay, let's do it. So I put $7,500 down. My payments are going to be $868 a month, right? That's what I'm paying, $868 a month. Because I have tier 1, and for some reason they have a tier 1 plus. So my credit was at 711, and tier 1 plus is for people that have above 720 up to 850, right? So that's like perfect credit. So I was okay with that. I was like, all right, that's a number that I can deal with. Let's get it done. Then I had to go get insurance, which is another $650. So off the gate, I'm paying $1,518 for the car payment and the insurance payment. Then you have to factor in gas. Now, this is my weekend car, right? The Charger. My Mustang is my daily, because I still kept the Mustang. And so basically I spend about $20, $30 a week, depending, because I don't really drive that much. I don't. And when I do have fun. But let's say $20, $25 a week. And then every now and then I'll have to take out the family. So usually that happens like once or twice a month. So let's add another $20, $30 to that. You know what? Let's round it off. Let's round it off to $200 a month in gas. Let's make it easy, because gas prices out here are crazy, and that's how much I was spending before they went berserk with the gas prices. So let's pretend that we're still gonna be around that ballpark of over $4 in gas for 93 premium, because you can't put anything less in the car. Let's remember that 93 premium. Like I said, this is a lifestyle. And so let's say I spend $200 for all intents and purposes. That's $17.18 a month. Then factor in car washes. You want to keep your car clean. You don't want it to get baked in the sun. You don't want bird poop, rain. Springtime there's pollen. Fall there's leaves and all kinds of stuff coming off the trees and seeds and all that. Wintertime you have snow, and you just want to keep the car clean to make sure you don't mess up the paint job, especially a beautiful paint job like the Smoke Show. And most Mopars have really nice paint. They really go hard on their paint, because I like FA green, I like Go Mango, I like Tour Red, I like all those colors. Those colors are awesome. Indigo blue, the black, obviously, like everything looks great. So you're gonna want to maintain your car's look by keeping it clean and making sure it's nicely detailed at least once or twice a month. I do it twice a month because, again, I live in New York and there's a lot of dust and all kinds of crap everywhere. Right now it's spring, so all the pollen is falling off the trees. Literally, you wash the car, a couple of days later, it's already got a layer of pollen. Like, it's crazy. And so those usually cost me around $30. Because I don't, listen, when you detail a car, it's going to cost you like over $100. And that's if you don't wash it all the time or you're like a dirty slob. Because I barely drive the car and I keep it clean. I don't have to do that at all. I did it one time, like right after I first got the car. But after that, I just make sure I maintain the car. I don't eat in the car. I don't do anything like that. I keep it clean, and that's what happens. Other than that, dirt does come into the car because of your feet. It's inevitable. So you just gotta, clean the carpet every now and then. So yeah, that's what, $60 a month plus $17.18. So you're looking at $17.78. Round it off to $17.80. $1,800 to maintain and keep a Scat Pack. That's without repairs or anything. Now, because it's a brand new car, you don't really have to deal with that unless you rip it and drive it like a maniac. So $1,800, and then let's say you put away $50 a week for maintenance, because eventually you will have to get new tires. Eventually you will have to get new brakes. Eventually you'll have to get an oil change, do your inspection, and do your registration. That's only like once a year type thing, or every other year, right? The registration's every other year. A new set of tires every other year. Same thing with brakes. So we don't have to really calculate too much of that into the payment, but let's put $50. So $1,830. Again, it's a lifestyle, and you have to decide for yourself whether you can afford it, because there's a difference between being able to afford something and being able to pay for something. If you can afford a vehicle that's that expensive, right? If you can afford it, then that means you can pay for it, but also have a couple of paychecks in the bank that you don't have to worry about. You make the payment, you're still good. You're not even thinking about it. Boom, I can afford it, whatever. Being able to pay for it basically means that you could pay for it, but you might be left with only a couple of dollars left after you do that, and you have to make sure that you work to get the next paycheck. You're living paycheck to paycheck. That is not a way you want to live. And if you notice, a lot of people during the pandemic, they were getting stimulus checks. The unemployment was giving an extra $600 a week. They were buying these cars and other cars, high-end cars like crazy. A lot of them weren't even legally registered. They were just putting paper plates and all kinds of nonsense. Because, again, those things are expensive, even if you're making all that extra money. But now you see a lot of them aren't on the road anymore because those things got repoed, or they got crashed, the people can't take care of them, or things like that. They got rid of them. They can't afford it anymore because the money isn't coming in anymore. They can't milk the gravy train. It's not as sweet as it used to be. So, again, it's something that you have to make a conscious decision of. And, again, everybody has a different situation. If you daily drive this car, you're going to spend a lot more on gas. The tires, expect those to change every year, brakes, etc. So that things change depending on how you drive the vehicle, how you live. Now, because again, this is my weekend car, I don't have to spend that much money on those. But still, imagine you do daily the car. You're gonna be spending like $300 to $400 a month on gas. These things are thirsty. So now you're looking at above $2,000 to maintain the car. And again, hopefully you guys don't make that crazy decision doing it without really thinking it through. You got to really think it through, man. It's not easy, but it's definitely fun. And, I enjoy the vehicle. I'm fortunate. I work very hard in life to be able to afford the things I can afford. But that's just me. Not everybody's going to be the same. A lot of people think, oh, you just got a scat pack, you're broke. Listen, a Hellcat is even worse. You're talking minimum $1,000 for a brand new Hellcat a month. Plus, the insurance is going to be even more expensive. That thing burns more gas because it's forced induction. I mean, you're talking about $2,200 to $2,500 if you drive it like me. If you're if some idiot wants a daily a Hellcat, they're going to be spending almost $3,000 a month trying to maintain that thing. Like, it's no joke. It really is no joke. That's a lot of money because you have to think about what you make after taxes, right? What you take home to be able to afford these vehicles, and you got to pay that every month. It ain't cheap, man. A lot of people ain't making more than $50,000 a year, even in today's time, because most jobs, the hourly, they're probably looking at their labor costs, and they're not going to give you overtime. You're only going to get paid a certain amount, unless you have a degree, and then you probably got student loans, and you're trying to live in the city. It's crazy money, man. I live in New York City, and everything's expensive. So like I said, again, I'm very fortunate because I work hard, but not everybody's the same. So when it comes to buying a vehicle like one of these, make sure you live within your means. If you can only afford a 5.7, buy a 5.7. If you can only afford a Pentastar V6, you get that. You get the GT or the SXT. Get it. Don't worry about it. You're still going to have a cool looking car that drives comfortably and has enough power to get you around. More than enough power. It's adequate power. Trust me, 300 horsepower is still adequate power. If you could afford a scat pack, cool. If you could afford a wide body, even better because of the handling and the safety. But yeah, that's basically the cost of ownership of my 2021 Charger Scat Pack wide body. Now, if anybody needs help, you can always hit me up in the comments. I'm always down to give anybody advice and help them out and make things more realistic for them in terms of what they can do, what they can afford, and what they can buy, and what they should do. Not that you should listen to me. I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, but I'm always here to help and to give advice. So yeah, in the comment section, guys, go crazy. Let me know what you have. If you got a Hellcat, wide body, you don't have to tell me how much you pay for it, but if you do, that's cool. We could talk about it and everything like that. And yeah, man, just like and subscribe, and until the next one.